What would you say if I told you that V, the protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077, isn't even real? That's just one of many wild theories I'm going to be reading to you guys today. Side note, this all came from Reddit and are not my original theories. After I read each one, I'll be giving you guys my personal thoughts and how likely out of 10 this theory could be true. Before we get into these theories, I just want to mention that 90% of you guys aren't subscribed to me. So if you enjoy the content I make, please consider hitting that button. Let's get into these theories. I'm pretty sure this theory is very popular among Cyberpunk fans, but what really is cyberpsychosis? There's theories in universe, in Cyberpunk 2077, in CD Projekt Red, and CP 2020 that there's no such thing as cyberpsychosis, as in chipping in isn't what makes people lose their minds. The theory states that cyberpsychosis is a buzzword made by the pop media and pushed by the megacorps as an easy scapegoat to mask the fact that people are going mental because they live in a dystopian hellscape, and that people in these immensely stressful and bad living situations tend to snap. Cyberpsychosis, in this sense, is just regular psychosis and common stress reactions, and cyberpsychosis was pushed as a possible cause because A, it's convenient, and B, it allows for the easy and unquestionable disposal of society's undesirables. It also has the benefit of dissuading people from becoming too dangerous and able to fight back against the powers that be, and add stigma in associating with those people. That's why people deem dangerous to society cyberpsychosis and are purged without question by MassTech and C-SWAT, except when they're recruited by MassTech and C-SWAT and everyone else with power, because somehow they're not dangerous to society when they're on the company payroll. To me, this already sounds pretty likely because of how out of touch everyone is in the cyberpunk world, especially the big corporations such as MassTech, but I'm not fully convinced that cyberpsychosis is just life stress from being under extreme conditions. Like, yeah, it can get bad and you can go crazy, but like this crazy, where you're killing hundreds of people in some cases and even your own family? I don't know. And plus, it makes sense for someone to go insane after installing that many implants in their body. Obviously, our body isn't made for chrome like that at all. I see both sides, but this theory does make sense above all. But let's see what the replies say. One person replied, I have an inverse to that, which is that cyberpsychosis is a real type of dissociation disorder, but similar to how, quote, guns don't kill people. There's a crowd of cyberpsychosis denialists who push that cyberpsychosis is all just a giant scam pushed by the media and some corps to remove accountability from themselves and the fact that their technology is driving people insane, and or to limit freedoms. This crowd, mostly made up of people too poor to actually afford combat cyberware, and people so rich that they can afford to live a lifestyle which prevents the disorder from occurring, insists that the so-called psychosis is actually an issue of personal responsibility, that the psychos are actually always people who were already unstable and prone to, say, a mass shooting, and everyone's just using cyberware to shift blame away from the personal accountability needed to save cyber. I do think that this inverse is slightly more likely because there's no way that in Arasaka's artificial Earth, cyberware is completely safe. There's just no way. I do think that it is very possible that the corpos use this to their advantage, but the chrome definitely causes cyberpsychosis, at least in my opinion. This next theory is titled, The Protagonist Isn't Real. Now, the more I play it, the more certain, extremely amazing details come to life. These small details have led me to believe, without a doubt, that V was never real. V has always been a construct, the like of which I am uncertain. The entirety of the game we are playing is a digital review, recreation, BD possibly of someone else's life, or of someone casting V over another's life. My discussion points are below. Even before we were merged with Johnny, the digital error graphics can be seen. We can chalk that up to Kuroshi optics interface perhaps, but after the merge with Johnny, it is used primarily to showcase relic instability, usually right before or after an emotional disconnect. The cat that V can take care of in his apartment complex is seen multiple times during the Johnny flashback when we are looking for Alt, the same exact cat. This cat is also seen when we are casing the industrial park with Takamura. This means that the cat is either a digital projection from V or is a link of some sort the actual user needs to anchor itself to the construct, playback, BD, whatever we are looking at. During the mission with Takamura, V says that cats fought the hardest before becoming extinct and neither had seen one before. So what about the cat at his building? Real or nah? The graffiti on the wall can be found even before meeting certain characters or going to certain places. This means that someone other than Johnny or V are casting them there. Someone with intimate knowledge of the path of the fool, even if we argue this is from Alt or another AI. It would have to mean that the entirety of the story has already played out, and this is a repeat, a redo, or an entirely new construct world. It's possible that whatever higher power is monitoring whatever V actually is, whether taming an AI or controlling the virus that V is, or tending to the watcher of the BD, the graffiti is a resource to guide/control their decision making. When visiting with Alt, she makes an extremely interesting point when we are defending Johnny by saying that what we saw was an interpretation of what happened and was nothing close to the truth. This is a primer that what we see can be a dissociation from what is real. Each car of the Delamain side quest directly corresponds to a situation that V and or Johnny is dealing with or will deal with, and the way that V speaks to the car correlates to situations we've gone through. It feels as though the cars are a tool for getting V, be a stuck mind or an AI, to realize something. This same thing can be said for Misty when we finally turn in the tarot quest and she essentially tells you about the 4 main endings and you tell her about the first secret ending. And lastly, when Johnny is explaining Mikoshi to V, he makes a statement that the worst thing would be waking up as someone else and not even remembering who you were. I believe this was the giveaway to the entire game, a single line amidst a gazillion others. So this is getting long enough. I'll make my concluding point. V is not real. V is either a construct, meaning created as a tool to carry psyches, an example, Johnny's, or a rogue AI that either found a way through the black wall or has merged with Alts, or is somehow creating a Fox world of its own, or someone watching a BD and V is their projection. Alternatively, V can be a mind that was stuck in the net and this entire, quote, game world was created to guide them back out before they go cyber psycho or something. Of these 4 possibilities, I think that V is a virus, some sorts, and Johnny's mind is fighting to survive against it. When Alt is explaining that the body would consider V an invader or a cancer to kill, and said matter-of-factly that it's Johnny's body is really interesting when you overlay over Johnny's explanation of Kuroshi. This theory is definitely interesting, and the coolest one I've heard yet. The person who wrote this is very confident and their points are strong. Specifically, the cat one made the most sense. But honestly, who knows with this game? This theory could 100% be real, but it would make the game even sadder somehow. I don't even know if that's possible. And just thinking about the waking up as someone else one is genuinely depressing. The next theory is called V Returning Theory for Cyberpunk 2. This would make the Devil, Suicide, and Tower endings non-canon. It only works for endings where V jacks into Mikoshi. For this theory to work, the canon path would have to be one where V connects to Mikoshi and Alt uses Soul Killer, meaning the star, the sun, or temperance. When V jacks into Mikoshi, Alt hits him with Soul Killer. From that moment on, V is an engram. After that, Alt can leave with either V or Johnny. One stays beyond the black wall, the other goes back to Earth in V's body. If you ask Alt what she thinks you should do, she says Johnny should go back and V should stay. This sounds logical since the body won't reject Johnny. But what if there was another reason for the suggestion? Alt's possible long game. Alt operates on a level far beyond human emotion now, and we still don't know why she wanted to access Mikoshi. If Johnny returns to the real world, he becomes someone who would feel like he owes her. Johnny might leave Night City. He might try to move on. But if Alt ever needed something done in the physical world, like access to Mikoshi in 2077, Johnny would likely answer, and he would be answering in V's body, a body that defeated Adam Smasher and no longer dying due to the relic. From Alt's perspective, that's a powerful asset to have in play. The Orion twist. In the Devil Ending contract, it's explicitly stated that engrams can be copied and that they won't copy V's engram. Since Alt created V's engram, if anyone can duplicate or modify it, it's her. So what if Orion's protagonist is a copy of V? Not the V who left with the Aldecaldos, not the V who went on a heist in space, not the V whose body Johnny kept, but a version of V whose memories stop at the moment they entered Mikoshi. So the game would likely begin with us waking up in a secret lab where Alt possibly made a deal with a corp to create a body compatible with V's engram. This V remembers everything up to Mikoshi, the heist, Johnny, the fight to survive, but has no idea which ending became reality. Something he would probably want to know. Replacing life paths. Instead of life paths like Corpo, Nomad, Street Kid, Orion's unique quest could revolve around investigating what happened to your original V, while keeping your original life path for dialogue options. Star Ending, you work with Nomads to track rumors of a merc who left Night City with the Aldecaldos. Sun Ending, you dig through the afterlife, maybe speak to Claire or other fixers for information. Temperance, Johnny has your body. You track him down through old friends like Carrie or Rogue if she lived in your playthrough. The driving question for the new life path quests becomes, did the original V get the ending they wanted? And if Johnny has the body, did he make the most out of his second chance? The main story can probably be initially a heist that Alt needs us to complete to access a new location she can't get to herself. So it would be logical to bring V back since he has a track record of completing a big heist while also starting from zero and becoming a legend. Also, if Johnny has your old V's body, he can be a super strong teammate to have that can make the quest easier. The meeting with Johnny can also be determined by your relationship with him in the base game, the bigger theme. If you're a perfect copy with the same memories, are you still V? And if the original is still out there somewhere, which one of you is real? Would you be interested if Orion chose to continue V's story this way, or would they move on entirely with a new main character? I think this theory is cool, but I don't see it becoming reality. CD Projekt Red and the makers of Cyberpunk are known to let endings breathe and happen, rather than keep going back to them. For example, in Cyberpunk Edgerunner Season 2, they decided to not bring back any of the characters from the previous season, because it's very easy to mess up a perfectly good ending to a character's story. V's ending, in my opinion, whether it be the devil or any of the other endings, is perfect the way it is. I really don't see them touching V's story again in the second game, or Johnny's. Okay guys, this one is a pretty long one, so just buckle up, get some snacks, and enjoy. I do want to mention though that this is a collection of theories and discussions over Cyberpunk 2077 and its lore, so it's not one specific theory that someone said, rather like a culmination of a lot of theories, so bear with me guys. So we all know the theory that Yorinobu Arasaka died during the Fourth Corporate War in 2023 is technically wrong because it mixes him up with his brother Kai. But what if the spirit of that theory is actually right? What if the Yorinobu we meet in Konpeki Plaza isn't just a rebellious son, but a desperate, terrified prisoner who was never actually meant to survive? Think about it. During the Fourth Corporate War, Kai sent elite assassination squads to wipe out Yorinobu and his biker gang, the Steel Dragons. Then, Yorinobu just completely vanishes from the face of the earth. The theory goes that he used a body double to fake his own death just to survive the hit squads. He spent years hiding in absolute darkest corners of the Japanese underground, completely off the grid. But Arasaka's reach is global. Eventually, they caught him. When he magically reappeared in the late 2030s, kneeling before his father Saburo to beg for forgiveness, the whole world was shocked. The tyrannical Saburo doesn't just forgive a traitorous child. The dark implication here is that Saburo didn't accept him back out of love. He used early soul killer tech to forcefully rewrite a piece of Yorinobu's mind, breaking his spirit to force him into submission. But here's where the theory gets truly sinister, and it completely flips the plot of Cyberpunk 2077 upside down. Saburo's entire life goal was digital immortality via the Relic program. But as we learn from the game's lore, an engram requires a genetically compatible host to safely take over a brain, and the perfect match is your own flesh and blood. Yorinobu wasn't welcomed back to be the heir to the Empire. He was brought back to be a vessel. He was literally being raised like livestock, a physical clone substitute for his father's consciousness. Sarubu didn't care if Yorinobu secretly harbored anti-corporate thoughts or played his rebellious little games. He let him play corporate prince because, to Saburo, Yorinobu's mind was already a ghost. His body was just a placeholder, writing for Sarubu to push the overwrite button. When Yorinobu steals the Johnny Silverhand relic at the start of the game, he isn't trying to sell it for cash. He's trying to weaponize it. He deliberately chose Johnny, the most anti-Arasaka entity in existence, because he knew that if Sarubu tried to take over his body, Johnny's engram would act like a digital suicide vest, tearing them both apart. And when Sarubu finally confronts him in the hotel room, Yorinobu chokes his father to death, not out of a sudden burst of rage, but as a final, desperate act of ecological self-preservation to stop his father from stealing his literal soul. Alright, I'm so sorry for my horrible pronunciations of those names, but this theory is almost a no-brainer. Yorinobu using Johnny's construct as a suicide vest is probably the smartest thing I've heard yet. Like, oh my goodness, that's brilliant. But that's all the theories I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video because I put a good amount of work into it, but I'll always do that for you guys. So if you enjoyed this video and maybe want more theories in the future, hit that subscribe button and like the video. I'll see you guys next time.